That's awesome. We're totally going to do that. That's a really good
Yeah,
idea. Looks
that's
good
a
now.
pretty good idea.
Yeah, and I have seen some parents pretty effectively build, some little books or even PowerPoint slides. So that's a really great idea, especially also to share, I think, with peers, in the school, so that they know more about their child.
Right. I've also been asked to, and it goes over very, very well. And I don't know in every situation if there's a person that's kind of in a role. I've been asked to go into the regular ed classroom of a child who has a communication device. There's one child where I've been asked every year. It was a request of her mother that I go in to her regular ed class because she's both learning support and she's included in a regular education class for part of the day. And I've been asked to go in and do a presentation about 45 minutes long about just complex communication needs and devices and people who need communication support. It makes a big. Those kids are riveted for 45 minutes. So they want to learn. So if we can also provide those kinds of supports to peers, like you mentioned, peers, I think those kinds of little presentations, just going in, whether it's the parent or whether it's the AAC consultant, the SLP, some going in and holding up devices and talking about I'll mention, well, this child is your age. Imagine if somebody was your age and they came in and spoke to you like you were 5 years younger. Sometimes we accidentally do that. So just those kinds of things, the really crucial things that peers need to know. That if they only knew, they probably would do a beautiful job supporting their peers with complex communication needs. But they need support and training just like anybody else. And it really doesn't. What I found is that 45 minutes goes a long way, or even a half an hour.
Yeah,
That's interesting, Lucas, Lawrence, sorry, because this ties back to the entire integration component that we were talking about, right? Because now you're in a classroom where you have these kids around and you want to explain to them, hey, this kid's going to be using AAC, and the peers are also involved and the peers are also excited about using it. And that takes the motivation level onto a different plane altogether. And I think, again, I want to tie it back that these are like very basic things. That this is like communicating the fact that you will have a student who's going to use AAC and communicating that fact to the peers. That's all. That's all it is. It's not like a big science behind it. It's just you tell them that someone's going to be using AAC, and this is what we're going to do about it. And like there are some certain simplified basics that we can do so well that I think that's something that we should be talking more about.
Yeah, one of the things when I'm in there is I actually do a little bit on aided language simulation, is teaching these kids, one of the best ways for your friend to learn to communicate is if you communicate the way that they do. So, they always have to ask. It can never reach in and touch somebody's device because that's their voice. But if they ask and their friend says it's okay, then that might be one of the most helpful things in getting their friends to communicate. So, I even do a little bit with that, and that also makes a difference. I mean, that's one of the, we know, I mentioned earlier, that aided language simulation or modeling on the system that child is expected to use, or adult, whoever is communicating with AAC, is one of the biggest indicators of success in that person developing strong language skills.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And like you said about being riveted, I've never met a peer that doesn't want to interact with the AAC device.
I mean, I always, it's kind of, an ego boost for me because I go into the classroom and I've got, 30 little faces that are like stuck, and I'm not that interesting, but, they want to know. They really do. I mean, you have to be a little bit engaging, and I can be silly, but I think they just are really, really wanting to know this stuff, and they suck it up because I'll do little quizzes along the way, and they remember everything I say. So it's something that doesn't take that much time, but can be pretty helpful.